Hello, welcome back to the You at Your Best podcast. I'm your host, Morgan. So, for this week's episode, I wanted to talk about resentment. But before we get into the episode, I want to share some life updates. So, to start off, I was sick probably a week ago and finally got over it about 2 or 3 days ago. And now I'm sick again. I was sick because I had the same virus that my baby had whenever she was sick. And I guess me being sick made my immune system not the greatest, so I contracted another viral infection, so I'm sick again. So if you hear any raspiness in my voice, that's what that is. And also, in my last episode, I talked about how I am going to be making a lot of changes. I'm going to be enhancing my podcast, doing things to put myself out there, make my podcast better, believing that it's going to go somewhere instead of just believing that it's going to just stay in one place. And in that episode, I actually found an intro and outro song. It's the same song. And also for this episode, have like an outline for the episode. I definitely over-prepared with that outline, but I just wanted to have something so that I could talk, because I talked about in my last episode how here lately I have been really struggling with talking in my podcast. I feel like I keep on having a hard time with it. I keep on messing up, or I guess I have a lot of self-doubt right now. So because of that, I wanted to try out having a little outline, just to see how it works out. And again, I definitely over-prepared. Over time, I will change it up, and maybe eventually I won't even need the outline anymore. But I have that, and then some other changes, some things that I'm working on behind the scenes. I want to get better at not just sharing all of my life with the internet, because for most of my podcasts, I've just been sharing and just talking about everything that I'm experiencing, because I haven't really believed that people were really going to be listening to my podcast. I kind of just felt like it was me just talking and getting everything out there. But now that I am working hard towards getting my podcast out there and making an effort to maybe even have this podcast become my career, I don't want to do that anymore. I know that sharing too much information about yourself can be really detrimental, because there's always people preying on your downfall, always people who can use your weaknesses against you. And I definitely think I will talk about my issues and things that I struggle with, because that's important to me and vulnerability is important to me. But I'm doing my best to learn the difference between being vulnerable and just kind of self-sabotaging and just throwing myself to the wolves. And I think that's all the updates that I have. So, like I said before, this episode is going to be about resentment. Resentment is something that happens whenever we feel that someone is crossing our boundaries, whenever someone is doing something to us that makes us feel hurt or uncomfortable or used or unwanted, unloved, unappreciated. So many things like that cause resentment and cause us to feel like this person maybe doesn't care about us or maybe doesn't love us. And we feel angry because we don't think we deserve that treatment. And whenever someone resents someone, it is 100% because they have high self-worth. They value themselves. And I know this to be true because whenever I didn't value myself, I didn't resent people. I let people walk all over me. I let people do whatever they wanted to me. And I genuinely didn't care. I didn't feel like they were doing anything wrong. And for me personally, I don't think it was necessarily that I felt like I deserved it, although I do know that some people do feel that way. And that is why a lot of people don't build resentment and let people walk all over them. For me, I think it was more that I felt like I had to make myself small. Because of my own issues and my own traumas, I spent a lot of my life feeling like who I am is too much. And if I stand up for myself, I am just being too much. I'm being too annoying. And I really felt like, genuinely, it didn't even bother me. Like, I didn't even know that it was bad, the things that people were doing to me, that I would definitely be hurt by now. I truly let people treat me so bad. Honestly, the only person that I didn't let treat me poorly was my boyfriend. once I started getting a sense of self-worth, I started to care for myself more than I previously would have. I started resenting people. And there was actually a situation where the first time probably that I resented someone that I can remember, at least the first time where the resentment really affected me. And I will say that how I handled the situation wasn't the best. How I let my resentment take control wasn't the best. But I also had no idea what was going on or why I felt the way that I did. I didn't understand my resentment. Even though I knew what resentment was, I didn't understand that that was resentment. And the way that I acted, it was out of hurt. I was responding to being mistreated, but I still admit that I should have handled that situation way differently, but I can't change the past. But I say that example because that was the first time that I ever felt resentment towards another person. It was the first time that I ever genuinely felt hurt by someone treating me some way. The first time that I genuinely felt anger for being mistreated. On that level, at least. I'm sure I definitely felt anger and I felt hurt throughout my life. It's not the first time I've ever felt that way, but it was the first time that I loved and respected myself enough to know that that anger and that hurt was completely valid. I loved myself enough to get out of that situation. Resentment is a really powerful emotion, just like anger. And just like anger, resentment a lot of the time is the result of another feeling. If we feel sad because someone mistreated us, we don't feel that we deserve that, and it makes us feel sad. So because of that, it becomes anger, and sometimes we can act in ways that we're not necessarily proud of. Again, like my example that I was giving before, whenever I acted in a way that I am not proud of now, and I know that I would not act now because I have a better understanding of what was going on at the time. We start to treat people poorly. We start to, in a way, act in the same way that that other person was acting. We start treating people and acting in ways that we think are okay. We think are understandable because of the reason why we did it. We feel really angry, really sad. And because of that, we want to defend ourselves. We want that other person to hurt as much as we are. We want them to understand how they made us feel. We want them to at least feel a little bit bad. We want to do things to make them understand, and we work really hard to do that. We try to fight. We try to explain ourselves, and that's what I did in this situation. I tried to explain myself, and I tried to get this person to have a better mindset, to understand, to not freak out every time I tried to talk to them about an issue or a problem. And all of that only made things worse. It only made me resent this person more. It only made this person angry, defensive, make me feel unheard even more. And in this situation, although I don't love the way that I acted, the way that I handled it, I was doing what I was doing because I was trying to work on that relationship. I was trying to fix things. I was really worried about this person doing something that would hurt me. Well, I'm just going to say this person was very controlling, and I felt like I had no say in my life. And because of the situation, it was really hard to get away from that. And I communicated. I tried to explain to them what controlling behavior versus non-controlling behavior was. I tried to tell them how I felt, be completely honest and open. And through all of that, what I got was that person going off and talking poorly about me. They kind of just built an army, had so many people really disliking me, really hating me, was spreading false information about me, and the whole time I couldn't defend myself. I was pregnant and living finally in our own apartment, and I just stayed silent. I didn't message anyone to explain my side of the story, not because I felt like it was the right thing to do. I wanted to text everyone. I wanted to explain my side and explain to them that I'm not this horrible person, all of these people who thought so poorly about me. But also, at the same time, I knew that it wouldn't have done anything. And also I was scared. I was terrified to reach out to people. I was terrified to post on social media because what if this person saw? And I don't think I ever fully processed that. And what I went through during that time, I just kept on moving forward. And I will say that time being away from that person and being more isolated while I was pregnant, that was so healing for me. And I learned so much about myself during that time. But it was also really hard knowing that so many people thought poorly about me, even though I didn't do anything wrong to a certain extent. Again, I know that I acted in ways that I don't necessarily agree with, but a lot of it was a response to how I had been treated for so long, and I was so tired of it. But that's what resentment does to you. It makes you scared, angry, so many emotions, and it's not good for you. I remember I was in such a bad headspace. I was mean to my boyfriend. In the rare occasion that he would be around this person, I would tell him everything that he needs to say and like create scripts for him because he had to do it perfectly or he wasn't defending me. And I was so stressed out, so overwhelmed, and I was pregnant too, which is really bad for the baby. But I was so scared of this person winning. The whole time it kind of felt like they were. But I tell that story because that was my first time experiencing resentment to that extent. That was the first time that I finally started gaining self-respect, that I finally started standing up for myself. And looking back now, I still don't see how I did it, and I still struggle to stand up for myself every single day. But that time was a breaking point for me. And that's why I want to say, before I get into this episode and talk about how resentment is harming us, I want to say that resentment, it's an emotion, and again, every single emotion and feeling, they're all valid, and we have to feel them. We just can't hold on to them. We can't let them become this thing that takes over our life. Because whenever we resent someone else, whenever we hold on to something that someone else did to us, a lot of the time we think maybe if we hold on to that hurt, we can finally explain to them how badly they hurt us, how horrible they were to us. We can finally get them to understand and maybe feel at least a little bit bad, maybe to finally understand our side of the story. And we hold on to it because it's really hard to let go of that hurt whenever you know that that person probably doesn't care. They probably think that they did absolutely nothing wrong and are not taking accountability. But truth is, holding on to that resentment doesn't make them understand more. It doesn't make them care more. It doesn't make them want to apologize. It doesn't make them want to listen to us. It doesn't make them want to hear our side of the story. It only harms us. We are the ones that's holding on to it. And it's only negatively impacting us. We resent people because they treat us poorly. Yes, but our resentment isn't impacting them at all. For all we know, they could be out living their best life. They're probably not. Because I know in my situation, whenever I wasn't the best person, I wasn't making the best decisions, I was not out living my best life. But they could be. They could genuinely just not care. And they probably don't. And if they do, that's none of our business anyways. Their personal journey is their own thing. And I think it's important to wish the best for them and to want a good life for them. But if you're not at that place yet, that's totally okay. Don't force it. Don't force yourself to say that you wish the best for them and you want the best for them. You want them to heal whenever you don't feel like that. If you're angry, feel angry. Don't force yourself to just say that you wish the best for them whenever you don't. It doesn't make you a bad person to be angry. It doesn't make you a bad person to want them to get karma. Okay, so now I want to share some other examples of resentment. For me, I really understand things better whenever I have examples of things. Specifically, if I hear an example that I resonate with, especially whenever I was struggling to even feel resentment, to even love myself, hearing a situation that I had been through really helped me understand. So I want to give some examples so that maybe they can help some people to feel that anger or that sadness that comes with a certain situation that they went through that maybe they told themselves that they shouldn't be angry about or upset about. So the first one I have is feeling angry at a coworker for not helping you out and it causes you to do more work. Feeling angry at a friend who constantly makes the conversation about themselves whenever you try to open up to them. It makes you feel like you're being dismissed, like they don't care. Feeling angry at your partner because they've been distant due to their own stresses in life. Hating another girl because you feel like she's prettier than you or richer than you or has better nails than you, has better Instagram posts than you, makes better content than you, seems to be really good at socializing. Being angry at your parents for constantly dismissing you when you try to discuss childhood trauma and childhood experiences. Feeling used because your boss gives other people raises when you feel that you are the hardest working person at your job. The biggest thing behind all of those situations is that it is a perceived injustice. Whether or not it actually is, we perceive it as that. We perceive it as it is something that is not fair, something that has been done to us, something that we wish we had. And if you feel any of those things, again, it's okay. You don't need to feel bad for how you feel. What makes you bad is how you act because of those feelings. Like, for example, if you hate another girl for whatever reason, it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel angry and resentful because she has everything that you want. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel, and you can't stop that. You can change your mindset, which is something that I'll be talking about in this episode, but you can't change that feeling did come up and that feeling was there. So you have to process that. But the way that you act and the way that you treat other people or treat that specific person, that's what makes you who you are. If you know that you feel resentment towards that specific person because of something that is not their fault, you should still choose to be kind to them. You shouldn't let that dictate how you treat them. You shouldn't let your feelings control you. But again, you still need to feel those feelings. And resentment can also happen through unmet expectations. Maybe you are expecting something of someone and you thought that this would happen, but maybe you didn't communicate with that person and you just made an assumption and maybe that thing didn't happen. Or maybe they promised something to you and they didn't follow through with that promise. And like I was saying before, resentment occurs whenever our boundaries are being overstepped, but sometimes those are boundaries that we didn't set. Sometimes we resent people for things that we didn't even realize were boundary crossers for us, so we didn't express that those things were boundaries. That's what happened in my situation where I was resenting this person. I really did let them walk all over me for a long time. I really did let this person mistreat me. I taught them that it was okay to act in the ways that they did towards me. And because of that, I ended up resenting them because I didn't even know myself what my boundaries were. I didn't express them. I didn't hold myself accountable. I didn't make an effort to protect my own energy. And then we also resent people whenever we feel that maybe we did a good job at setting boundaries, but we feel that those boundaries were ignored completely. There are people like that. I know a lot of people who just constantly overstep boundaries, and I want to go ahead and say right now, because this is something that's on my mind before I continue the episode. In previous episodes, I would say that I talked a lot about how I didn't really like boundaries, and I still don't know how I feel about that. I still believe that most boundaries are very personal and you don't have to even talk about them, but I think I'm getting to a place now to where I actually believe that sometimes we do need to stand up for ourselves. Sometimes we do need to set those boundaries. Sometimes that is needed. It's just, I think most of the time, we can very easily set boundaries without causing issues. And then it could also be boundaries that another person misunderstood. People don't always intend to hurt us, and resentment often comes from a place of misunderstanding another person's intentions. We can set a boundary, but then they maybe crossed it because there was some kind of miscommunication in that boundary being set, whether it was we didn't give enough detail, maybe that person didn't understand, maybe that person didn't listen. There could be a million reasons, and a lot of the time boundaries are crossed because of miscommunication, which is a huge part of being human. We a lot of the time use filler information. If we don't understand something, our brain automatically fills it with a reason. And sometimes we are incorrect about that reason. Even though a lot of us do feel like we're right about it, we think that it's our intuition telling us that this person did something because of this reason. But our intuition doesn't know that. Our intuition knows whenever a situation is bad. Our intuition knows whenever we need to get out of a situation. But it doesn't know why someone did something. We will not know that. So we have to do a better job at not letting those assumptions become a reality in our head. We assume things about people without even listening, without even understanding them, and a lot of resentment and issues between us and other people is a lot of miscommunication and a lot of misunderstanding. And again, resenting people doesn't help us. I get why we do it. It's just a part of human nature, but it doesn't help us. It can even cause physical illness, life-term issues, especially if it's something that we're holding on to for years and years. It's something that we have to let go of, not only for other people, but also for ourselves, for our own mental and physical health. I feel like a lot of people, whenever they hear mental health, they're like, oh, it doesn't really matter. That's not true. That's not real. But then whenever they hear that physical health is actually something that is messed with whenever we hold these negative emotions, because we may think that just letting it go is fine, but just letting it go means that we are holding it in. Just letting it go and letting them consistently treat us bad, that's not going to stop it from bothering us. If it bothers you, then it bothers you. You can't help that. And you have to feel that. You have to either say something to that person or stop spending as much time around them, protect your own energy whenever you're around them. I made a whole episode about how to observe and not absorb. That's a really great episode for resentment. And those negative energies stay in our bodies for the rest of our lives and again can cause health problems over time. A lot of people think that mental health awareness and therapy and stuff like that is all fake and it doesn't matter, but it 100% does. You have to take care of your emotions. You have to feel your emotions. You have to take care of yourself, or it will literally cause you to drown. You will spend the rest of your life feeling uncomfortable. And a lot of the time we feel uncomfortable and we don't really know why. And that can be because we have so many built up emotions that we're not processing. And I am the type of person who is very intellectual. I tried to intellectualize my emotions a lot, and I dismiss my emotions a lot because of some childhood issues and childhood trauma, things that I've been through that caused me to believe that I had to do that. A lot of the time we feel like we have to just push our emotions down. We have to just get up and get over it and move on. We have to just move on with life, because holding on to that feeling and feeling that feeling, it's an issue. It gets in everyone else's way. It is a burden on other people and even a burden on ourselves. But we have to feel those emotions. We have to. There's just no way around it. I know it's irritating, but that's what has to be done. I know it can feel irritating because it's like, that means that you have to go back and feel every single thing that you felt before. And honestly, we're probably never going to be able to do that because we have so many emotions. But you have to go back and feel so many things that maybe you push down because they're too hard to deal with, or it's just too much. Like you're already burnt out and you don't really care. And I get it. Trust me. I know it's hard. But you can take small steps too. You don't have to do everything all at once. Whenever it feels overwhelming, you can stop. This isn't something that you have to hurry up or rush. This is a lifelong thing, feeling your emotions. You can journal. I know a lot of the time it can feel irritating to do this because it can kind of just feel like I really don't feel like doing it. But something that I have been really trying to do is, if it helps me, I'm going to do it, even if it is irritating and I don't want to. So you can journal. There's a million journal prompts. You can go on Pinterest. You could literally just look up on Google journal prompts for releasing resentment, or journal prompts for feeling your emotions, journal prompts to help you uncover childhood trauma, whatever it is that you need. And that'll really help, just writing it all down, answering the questions. You can like find things that's like a list of things. It's super easy to do it since we have the online world now. We don't have to think of every single thing ourselves. We don't have to just sit there and think like, what am I feeling today? Because sometimes we don't know what we're feeling today. Or think like, what's the trauma that I want to focus on today? Whenever you don't even know, like there's a million things, and it's like at that point, for me, I'm really slow at processing things. So at that point, it would feel way too open-ended, and I need specific questions to help me be able to stay on track and remember. Specific words can trigger a memory, and then because of that, I can write about it, or even just sit there and think about it, talk to someone about it, make a podcast if you want to, just to talk about your feelings. Like you can do so many things, and there are so many other examples of whatever it is. I know some people process emotions through doing art, like painting and stuff like that. Just doing things that will process those emotions. That's incredibly important. Even the scary emotions, you have to feel them. You have to let yourself. And I know you don't want to. I know it's hard. And I want to validate that right now. It's really scary, but it has to be done. It has to, and you will be okay. You will get through it. I promise you. And also, I promise you, even though it's hard to do it right now, even though a lot of really negative emotions may come up, in the end, you will feel 10 times better. Way better than you felt while avoiding it, because it still comes up, because it never went away. Okay, and then back to my list of reasons why resentment is bad for us. It fogs our brains and makes it difficult to focus on the positives in life, which causes us to continue to bring negativity into our lives, because what we focus on becomes our reality. And if we're constantly resenting someone, constantly feeling angry at another person for something that they did, we're just going to continue to bring more negativities into our lives, because we are focusing so much on the negatives. Whenever you're holding on to so much resentment and so many negative emotions, you start to bring negativities into other things. So if you spilled coffee on your shirt or your pet pooped on the floor, you're more likely to have an outburst. It's more likely for that to cause you to see your day and your life as negative. Whenever you're holding on to resentment and you already have that negative energy within you, it's going to make it even harder to deal with that thing that happened. And also, you're going to bring more negativities into your life because you're focusing so much on the negative. I know I'm saying negative a million times, but you're going to notice the small things that you wouldn't have really noticed if you were just enjoying life and focusing on the positives and what you're grateful for. You're going to notice whenever your partner didn't fold something right. You're going to notice whenever someone says something to you that hurt your feelings, it might affect you more than it would if you were protecting your energy. And focusing on these negativities and holding on to this resentment, it prevents personal growth and healing, because it's impossible to focus on our own self-growth and our own journey whenever we're focusing on someone else, whenever we're focusing on wanting someone else to feel bad, wanting someone else to apologize, whenever we're probably never going to get that apology. We need to focus on ourselves more than we do on other people. We need to focus on our own healing, our own journey, being kind to ourselves, being understanding with ourselves, forgiving ourselves for past mistakes. We have to let go of the anger that we feel towards them, because it only hinders our growth. And then the last one that I have right here is it causes us to act in ways that don't align with our values, which is what I talked about a little bit before. We make poor decisions and treat people in ways that don't align with us, and often some people don't even deserve. And this causes strain on our relationships that we could have been growing and working on if we weren't feeling negative feelings towards that person. Okay, I'm going to finish off the rest, which is releasing resentment. So I want to start off by saying that this is going to be very hard, and I want to acknowledge that it is very difficult. Be gentle and patient with yourself. You can take as long as you need, and you can stop at any time. You can do whatever you need to do to make sure that you take care of yourself. Just please be patient. Please be gentle. Please try your hardest not to bring shame into this. Okay, so the first thing that I have is that anytime there's any negative feeling, always, before doing anything else, start off by validating the feeling. And then afterwards, you can analyze and process the situation by noticing how you feel. Do you feel angry, sad, scared, even? Whatever it is, sit with that feeling and try to hold on to it. I know it can be really hard. We can lose focus, but try to hold on to it and just sit there. And I know for a lot of neurodivergent people, we really struggle with sitting there and feeling it. So if you need to listen to sad music while you're doing it, just to keep you in that headspace, that could be really helpful. You could do something like that. But just try your hardest to sit there and hold on to that feeling that you're feeling in that moment. And then after you sit with the emotion, after you feel it, try to understand it. Try to understand where you're coming from, why you feel the way that you do, why you're so angry at this person for whatever they did or whatever they have that you don't have. What is it within you that was hurt? Is it a childhood thing? Did it trigger an emotion and a trauma that you never fully got to process? Did it make you feel unloved, unwanted? Did it make you feel small? Did it make you feel like you had no autonomy? Just whatever it was, try to understand what it made you feel. Try to understand where that came from and why you are so angry at this person. And then after you focus on yourself and you figure out how you feel, you've processed the emotion the best that you can, you've understood why you feel the way that you do, then you can focus on the other person, why they did what they did, trying to understand their brain, trying to look at it from an outside perspective instead of taking it personal. I know for me, I am really guilty of skipping the step of taking care of myself and first going to being understanding with them, understanding why they did what they did, even if it hurt me. And I think in situations where it didn't really bother us, we don't really have to process that emotion. But for me, even if it did bother me, I often skipped the step of taking care of myself and understanding it for myself and go straight to understanding them, why they did what they did, having more empathy for them than I have for myself. I've always done that, and that's why I wanted to say to do that other thing first, because that is so important. But then afterwards, again, you can look at them, look at why they did what they did, how they're feeling, but don't let this become something that you obsess over. Don't let it become something that takes over, because then it might just create more resentment. But if you want to just think for a second, just like understanding why they did what they did, but please do not let it go too far. I have been known to do that myself. And then afterwards, you can identify if you did anything to contribute to the situation, if there could have been a misunderstanding, if you could have made them feel bad, if what they did was a response to something that you did to them that maybe you didn't know about. Is there something you can do next time to prevent something like this from happening? Some examples could be remaining calm, staying within your own energy, noticing how you're feeling and leaving the room if you need to, and having personal boundaries. But again, just like the last one, please don't focus too much on this part, because we can become obsessive, especially people who really are into human psychology, like me and a lot of autistic girls. We really want to understand human behavior so we can hyper focus on it, and it can become something that's really unhealthy. So I just wanted to say that, because I know some people would hear that and they would understand this, but me personally, I wouldn't have understood this. I would have just straight up became obsessed if I heard someone say that. And then some more that I have are, could their actions be a result of resentment towards you? Could their actions be because of their own personal issues? Maybe they're dealing with unhealed trauma. Maybe the topic of the conversation was triggering for them. There could be a million reasons. And again, you'll never understand. But I think this is something that is really great to do if this is a person that you want to keep a relationship with and you truly care about and you really want to fix things. Maybe this is your partner and you have a lot of built up resentment towards them and you really want to work on that resentment and understanding them. It's really important to do this step. But if it's someone that you genuinely don't want in your life anymore, then you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. You can, of course, but like I said, please don't obsess. But you don't have to. You can just completely skip that step. Don't even think about why they did what they did, because truth is, you're never going to know. And if it's a partner that you're trying to forgive, or a friend that you're trying to forgive, or a family member that you really want to keep in your life, you can talk to them about it, but try not to come at it from a place of judgment and anger and kind of just like blowing up on them, making them feel like they did something horrible, like they're a horrible person. Come at it from a place of kindness and wanting to understand and wanting to build your relationship. And if they respond poorly or negatively and continue to treat you poorly, then that's a whole different situation. But most of the time, if we come at it with a goal of bringing us closer together and understanding them, then usually that doesn't happen. But there are some people who have so much deep-rooted shame and self-hatred that they take anything as an attack. And those people can be really hard to deal with. And of course, you can stay if you want. I would never judge anyone for that, but you definitely don't have to. And definitely if it's causing you more harm than good, I don't know if it would be a good idea to stay, but again, I totally get it. And then the last thing that I have is to just change the focus to you. Focus on your life, how you want to improve yourself. Focus on what you are currently going through, the things that you're grateful for, your dream life, like your dream home, a hobby that you want to start, something fun that you want to do, making an inspiring Pinterest board, finding your personal style, spending time with the people who bring you joy. Just focus on you and enjoying your life. Don't focus on that other person as much as you can. And usually after we've processed, it's a lot easier to focus on our lives and to focus on bettering ourselves rather than the other person. Okay, and then one more thing that I completely forgot about, but I really want to add this in here. It's how to prevent resentment. And this is something that I talked about in a previous episode, my episode about observing but not absorbing. So I'm not going to get super deep into it, but I did want to share some things. So the only thing that I have actually is to just set boundaries and be unbothered, even if you don't feel unbothered. And the boundaries that you set, they don't have to be spoken boundaries. You don't have to tell a person how they should treat you. You show them instead through your actions. And of course, you can tell them, you can tell people specific boundaries that you have. But if it's someone who isn't super important, you don't really have to. You can just show them. So I put some examples of actions to take. So you can excuse yourself when the conversation is going somewhere that makes you uncomfortable. You can say no when you are asked to do something you don't want to do, and not letting them convince you to change your mind. Just keep on saying no, no matter how much they push and push. And if it gets to the point to where they keep on pushing and you're very uncomfortable, leave the situation. You can walk away. Like literally, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to feel bad for walking away. Literally just turn around and walk away. You don't need to explain yourself. You can act uninterested whenever someone is talking about something or trying to talk to you about something that doesn't align with your values. You can distance yourself from people that make you feel really uncomfortable. This one is hard, but you can stand tall and hold eye contact so that they perceive you as a confident and assertive person, even if you're actually terrified. Whenever we do this, people often feel like they can't step over us. They can't walk all over us. They can't treat us poorly. And I think that's it for this episode. I am sitting in the car right now and I am burning up because I have the car off and it's summer right now. So I'm going to go in because I'm sitting outside of my apartment. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. I feel really grateful for my podcast and the small amount of people that are listening to my episodes. I genuinely love that I am able to sit here and make these episodes, and I am able to have the life that I do have that makes it easier for me to make these episodes. I don't have to work very often. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I can spend my life focusing on something that I genuinely care about, and I have a partner who takes care of the financial part for the most part. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next Sunday.